In this video, let's talk about the Preamble of India. So, as we see, the preamble is the preface to the Constitution, introduction or preface to the Constitution, and this is based on the objective resolution which was drafted and moved by Pandit Nehru and adopted by the Constituent Assembly. It has been amended by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, which added three new words: socialist, secular, and integrity. As you can see here, the socialist word, sovereign socialist, this socialist word, then the secular word, and the integrity, that is the last, that this one, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity. This was added in the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. So now let's look at what is the preamble. So it says, we the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign socialist secular democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. So, as you can see here, that this is the text of the preamble. This is the text of the preamble, and the preamble in its present form reads like this. So, so the first preamble, that is the American Constitution, was the first to begin with a preamble. Many countries, including India, followed this practice, and now this preamble is the preface to our constitution. Now we can say that it contains the essence of the constitution or the summary of the constitution, and it tells us what the eminent jurist and constitutional expert called the preamble. uh, that it is a preface or a short form of the constitution, or it signifies what are the objectives of the constitution that the experts, jurists have decided to um, provide to our country. It is the identity card of the constitution. So, as we know, what is the source of authority of the preamble? So, as it is clearly written, that we the people of India. So, preamble states that the constitution derives its authority from the people of India. That is, people of India are the source of authority of the preamble. And the nature of it also describes the nature of the Indian state, that is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republican polity. So it states that India will be a sovereign, socialist, secular and democratic republic. Then it also states the objectives, that is justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. These are the objectives of the preamble of India. And it also tells us about when was it adopted. That is, it was adopted on 26 November 1949. And it also tells that it was adopted in our constituent assembly on 26th day of November 1949. And it tells that we have ourselves given this preamble, given this constitution to us. That is, we hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this constitution. That is, the source of authority is the with the people of India. Now now we look at the certain keywords, that are sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic, then justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. And we will explain it, like what do they mean in what is the deep meaning of these words. So the first one is sovereign. That is, sovereign implies that India is neither a dependency nor a dominion of any other nation. It is free, and it is an independent state, and it can take its decision on its own, and there is no other authority above it. That is, it is an independent state, and it is neither a dependency nor a dominion of any other nation, and there is no authority above it, and it is free to conduct its own affairs, both internal affairs as well as external affairs. So this is the meaning of being a sovereign state. So this is the meaning of being a sovereign state. And there is no harm in being a member of commonwealth, because it is an extra constitutional declaration and does not affect India's sovereignty in any manner. So we are a sovereign state. We can conduct our own affairs, both internal affairs as well as external affairs, and there is no authority above it, and we can take independent decisions. So this is the meaning of sovereign. Then we will look at socialist. So socialism socialism has a very wide meaning. In many countries, different types of socialism is followed, but in case of India, this word socialist was added by the 42nd amendment in 1976. So in case of India, socialist means that the Indian brand of socialism is democratic socialism. It is not a communistic socialism or state socialism. Ours is a democratic socialism which involves the nationalization of all. It is not a communistic socialism or state socialism. In case of state socialism, all the there is the abolition of private property, as well as the nationalization of all means of production and distribution, which involves the nationalization, that is all means of production and distribution, the industries, labor, capital, as well as the private property is controlled by the state. But in case of India, it is not so. It is a different brand of socialism known as uh, democratic socialism, which is a mixture of socialism as well as Gandhian socialism. So, democratic socialism, on the other hand, holds faith in a mixed economy. It is a mixed economy where both public and private sectors coexist side by side. The public sector uh, is there to support the country in times of difficulty, and it was established to maintain a bulwark of the country's the pillars of the main production branch of the country. And the private sectors coexist side by side and compete with the public sector in our democratic socialism, and it aims to end poverty, ignorance, disease, and inequality of opportunity. That is it is a kind of it is a kind of democratic socialism that will end it aims to end poverty, ignorance, diseases, and inequality of opportunity. So that means if it end poverty, that means it aims to end inequality in income as well as diseases. It aims to provide health facilities to everyone, and then inequality of opportunity based on anything, that is everyone will have the same status and opportunity. Indian socialism is a blend of Marxism and Gandhian socialism. It is leaning heavily towards Gandhian socialism. So, this is the meaning of socialism in context of our preamble. Then we look at secular. So, the secular means that there is no state religion. That is, all religions in our country have the same status and support from the state. The term secular too was added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976, but it states that all religions in our country have the same status and support from the state. So, the Supreme Court said in 1974 that the secular state does not mean that there can be no doubts that constitutional makers wanted to establish such a state, and accordingly we accordingly it has been included in the constitution. The Indian constitution embodies the positive concept of secularism. That is it means that there is a positive concept of secularism in our country, and the all religions in our country have the same status and support from the state irrespective of their strength. So no one can discriminate you on the basis of religion. So this was also added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976. Earlier this secular state was not in the preamble, but the constitution makers always wanted to establish such a state, as it was stated in articles 25 to 28. So guaranteeing the fundamental right to freedom of religion, it is still there, guaranteeing the fundamental right to freedom of religion, so it has been added to the our preamble also. Now we look at democratic. So democratic means that democratic policy is of two types. Democracy is of two types: direct and indirect. In indirect democracy, the people exercise their supreme power directly. So directly, and directly elect the representative. And in case of indirect democracy, there are four devices, that is referendum, initiative, in recall, and plebiscite. In indirect democracy, there are four devices of sorry, in case of direct democracy, there are namely four devices, that is referendum, initiative, recall, and plebiscite. And the supreme power directly are the people, and they exercise their supreme power directly. In case of indirect democracy, the representatives elected by the people exercise their power and supreme power, and thus carry on the government and make the laws and represent the people at the center or the state level. This type of democracy, also known as representative democracy, is of two kinds: parliamentary and presidential. So the Indian constitution represents the parliamentary democracy, under which the executive is responsible to the legislature for all its policies and actions. So this is our form of democracy. It is not a direct democracy, it is an indirect democracy which is being followed in India, in which the people elect their representative, and the representative then exercises the supreme control and power on behalf of the people who have elected him. And also, it is a kind of parliamentary democracy, that is the executive is always responsible to the legislature for all its policies and actions. So this is a kind of parliamentary democracy which we follow in India. And this parliamentary democracy means that it aims to establish liberty, equality, and fraternity as a way of life. That is, the principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity cannot be separated. They are a trinity. Because if liberty cannot be divorced from equality, equality cannot be divorced from liberty, nor can liberty and equality be divorced from fraternity. Without equality, liberty would produce the supremacy of the few over the many, and equality without liberty would kill individual initiative. So all the three have to be exercised in the same manner. Now we'll look at republic. What republic means? So republic means that the head of our state is elected, that is, it has an elected head. Whereas in a monarchy, the head of the state enjoys a hereditary position, that is, he comes into office through succession. Example is Britain. But in republic, on the other hand, the head of the state is always elected, directly or indirectly, for a fixed period. In case of India, the head of the state is indirectly elected for a fixed period. So India has an elected head called the president. He is elected indirectly for a fixed period of 5 years. A republic also means two more things: one, vesting of political sovereignty in the people and not in a single individual like a king; and second, absence of any privileged class, and hence all public offices being open to every citizen without any discrimination. So ours is a kind of republic in which the head of the state is elected indirectly, that is the president, for 5 years, as well as the complete sovereignty of power lies with the people, and all the offices are open to everyone, all public offices, and there is no discrimination. Now we will look at justice, liberty, and equality. So the preamble wants to secure to all its citizens justice, social justice, economic justice, and political justice. So social justice denotes the equal treatment of all citizens without any social distinction based on caste, color, race, religion, gender, and so on. So social justice is that no person can be discriminated on the basis of caste, color, race, religion, gender, and so on. It means absence of privileges being extended to any particular section of society, and improvement in the conditions of backward classes, SCs, STs, OBCs, and women. Now we'll learn about economic justice. So the economic justice denotes the non-discrimination between people on the basis of economic factors. It aims at diminishing the inequality in income, as well as it involves elimination of glaring inequalities in wealth, income, and property. So this is what economic justice means in the preamble. So our preamble aims to achieve all these things. And in case of political justice, is it implies that all citizens should have equal political rights, that is, equal access to all political and public offices, as well as equal voice in the government. as well as universal adult franchise, which is given to every person above 18 years of age. So this is all about political justice, which implies that all citizens should have equal political rights and all public officers should be equal to all the people without any discrimination, and all people should have equal voice in the government. So this ideal of social, economic, and political justice has been taken from the Russian Revolution. That is Russian Revolution in the 1917, which happened in 1917. Now we'll move on to liberty. So the Indian Constitution guarantees us liberty of thought, belief, expression, faith, and worship. So it means that absence of restraint on the activities of individuals, and at the same time providing opportunities for development of individual personalities. So for this liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, these are our fundamental rights, and they are enforceable in court of law in case of violation. So these are these liberty, equality, and fraternity have been taken from the French Revolution, that was between 1789 and 1799. So all this is about liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. These are the fundamental rights which have been given to us by our constitution. It does not restrain any activity of a individual unless it is immoral, or it is causing public it is harming public order, etc. So this is what our constitution aims to give us, that is providing opportunities for development of individual personalities. So this is all about liberty. Now we will look at equality of status and of opportunity. Equality means the absence of special privileges to any sections of the society, and provision of adequate opportunities for all individuals without any discrimination. That is, it states two things: that first, there are no sections of the society should get privileges, and second, that adequate there should be adequate opportunity for everyone, without all the individuals, without any discrimination. So there are many fundamental rights which implement this equality of status and of opportunity. We'll look at them in the chapter on fundamental rights, but these are the provisions uh, which have been provided to us by our constitution. So now let's look at the some of I will tell you some of these provisions. That is equality before law, and which is in article 14. Prohibition of discrimination on grounds of religion, race, caste, gender, place of birth, which is in article 15. Equality of opportunity in matters of public employment, article 16. Abolition of untouchability and abolition of titles. These are some of the rights that have been provided to us. So these provide us with equality of status and of opportunity, which does not give privilege to any section of the society, and uh, gives adequate opportunity for all individuals without any discrimination. Then comes fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. Fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individuals and the unity and integrity of the nation. Fraternity means a sense of brotherhood. The Constitution promotes the feeling of fraternity by system of single citizenship. Single citizenship. So also the fundament, there is only single citizenship in India, unlike USA, which offers state citizenship as well as the citizenship of the country. There are two citizenship in USA, but in India there is single citizenship, and also the fundamental duties say that it shall be the duty of every citizen of India to promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people. So whether be it transcending religion, whether there is a difference in religion, linguistic difference, regional difference, or sectional difference, but brotherhood should be promoted among all the people. It is the fundamental duty of all the citizens of India to promote religion, linguistic, whether they are from any religion, from any linguistic province, or regional or sectional diversity. Whether there is any sectional diversity, we should always strive to promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhood. This is the fundamental duty, and fraternity means a sense of brotherhood should be promoted. So this is the meaning of fraternity. So this is all about. And then the last, it has been adopted in our constituent assembly on the 26th day of November 1949, and we have given adopted and we have enacted, adopted and given to ourselves this constitution. So this is what preamble says. It is a preface to the constitution. It tells us about the basic philosophy and fundamental values and political values, moral values and religious values of the constitution also. You have to remember this: philosophical values, fundamental values, political, moral and religious values of the constitution. It is a preface to the constitution, and preamble is also a part of the constitution, and is a part of the constitution, and it, the basic features of the preamble cannot be altered under the cannot be altered. There has been, the Supreme Court has decided that there are some basic features of the constitution and no amendment can be done to these basic features under article 368. So preamble has been amended only once, that is 42nd Amendment Act 1976. So this is all about preamble. We'll look at further about other chapters in the further videos.